Hello guys, we're gonna start the fourth partial chemistry 10th grade. You see in the screen we talk about the chapter 9 lesson 9.1 naming ions. That's on page 264. Okay, over here guys in the screen you see what is an ion compound. The first step is to learn about the ions that form ionic compounds. Okay, the first one type of ions, monatomic ions, consists of a single atom with a positive or negative charge resulting from the loss or gain of one or more valence electrons. Okay, key concept is in your book too. How can you determine the charge of the monatomic ions? Okay, another key question is metals in group 1A, 2A, and 3A form cations with positive charge equal to their group number. Over here, guys, remember in this lesson you have to use again the periodic table. The second key concept, the charge of the cations of many transition metal ions must be determined from the number of electron lost. Over here, guys, you have to remember too what is the charge of a cation and what is the charge of an ion. Third key concept, the charge of any ion of group 8, we talk about all the group 8, Nonmetals, is determined by the subtracting 8 electrons from the group number. Okay, cation or cations. Recall the metallic element tend to lose valence electrons. Okay, you have to remember all this. And the first one, all the group 1A ions have a 1 positive charge. You have some example, lithium, sodium, potassium, and the rest. There are 1 positive charge. Group 2A, metals, we talk about the metals in group 2A, tend to lose 2 electrons to form cations with a 2 positive charge. And you have some example, magnesium and calcium. Over there you have the balance of 2. Another example of cations, aluminum is the only common group 3A metal and tends to lose 3 electrons to form a 3 positive cation. In parentheses you have the symbol and the charge of the aluminum. Okay, cations or cations, the names of the cations of group 1A, like the slide before, 1A, 2A, and 3A metals are the same as the name of the metal, followed by the word ion, is dependent charge, or cations. Okay, metals that form more than 1 ion. Many of the transition metals, that's why groups 1B through 8B, form more than 1 cations with different ionic charge or charges. Okay, over there you have, guys, in the red part, on the yellow part, guys, transition metal ion form 2 common cations. In this case you have iron, Fe, with a 2 positive charge, 2 electron lost because you have a positive charge over here. And another example, you have the same symbol. Over here is iron again, Fe, with a 3 positive charge. That means the element lose 3 electrons in this case. Cations of tin and lead in the periodic table, the 2 metals in group 4A can also have more than 1 common ion charge. Okay, you have to take a look at your periodic table, guys, and try to memorize what group is transition metal and cations. Okay, next part, metals that form more than 1 ion. 2 metals are used to name ions that can have more than 1 common ion charge. Okay, for example, the preferred metal is called the stock system. We're gonna talk right now with this system, with the stock. The other is the classical method. That's another one. Okay, the stock system. Over here, guys, you have to use the Roman numerals in parentheses is the place after the name of the elements to indicate the charge. Over here, this case you have chromium, 2 positive charge is written chromium and parentheses 2, and the last part is ion and is read chromium 2 ions. You have another example here with the chart, the 3 charge ion is written chromium 3, and then the last part of ion and is read chromium 3 ions. No space, remember this kind of rule, no space is left between the element name and the Roman numeral in parentheses. Okay, we're going to continue the same. Metals that form more than one ion. A few transition metals have only one ionic charge. The names of these cations do not have a Roman numeral. Okay? Exceptions include silver with a 1 positive charge. Over here is the symbol in the charge, as well as cadmium and zinc with a 2 positive charge. And over here you have the examples. The classic method is the other method, guys. How to name the ions. In this classical method, use a root word with different suffixes at the end of the word. For example, you have this is iron. In Latin is ferrum. So F-E-R-R is the root name for iron. And you have another 2 examples of the classic method. Okay, the classic method we're gonna use as a root word with different suffixes at the end of the word. Okay, the suffix OUS is over here, is used to name the cation with the lower of the 2 ionic charge. And the other part, we talk about the classic method. And the other part, suffix IC, is used with the higher of the 2 ionic charge. Okay, using this system, for example, you have an element with the 2 positive charge is the stannose, with because we have the lower ionic charge. In this case is 2, and you had the same. You had the same symbol. In this case, you have 4 positive charge. In this case, is the higher. We're gonna use the suffix IC and the last part ion. Okay, you have some examples over here about the symbols. Symbols enable other common metals ions with more than 1 ionic charge. Symbol, you have copper, and you have this another element, it's a lead. Okay, the stock name, and you're gonna talk about the classic name. The stock name is, just write it down, the name of the symbol. In this case is copper, and when you don't have any number, that means it's 1 over there. That means you have in parentheses 1 in Roman numeral, and the last part ion. And the classic name you had to use over here, you had to compare the first 2. This is the lower charge. In this case is 1. We're gonna use the suffix OUS and the last part ion. And this case, in the classical name, in this case we have the upper charge of the copper. We're gonna use the suffix IC and the last part ion. And you had the another example about lead. It's the same way, like a copper. Okay, anions, nonmetals in group 7A form is like I said before minutes ago, is you have a negative charge. You have to subtract 7 minus 8, that will be minus 1. That's the answer over here. Nonmetals in group 6A form, you had the examples over here. It's a negative charge, in this case is 2. You have to subtract from 8 always 6 minus 8, that will be minus 2. And nonmetals in group 5A form, you have a charge, the three negative charge. Remember, you have to subtract by 8. This will be 5 minus 8. That will be minus 3. And you have some examples over here about that group: 5A, 6A, and 7A. Anions. Now we're going to talk about the anions. Anions names start with the stem or root of the element name and end in IDE. For example, two elements in group 7A are fluorine and chlorine. The anions for these nonmetals are the fluoride ion. Over here you have the symbol and the negative charge in parentheses, and the chloride ion, and you have the symbols and the negative charge in parentheses. These two are example of anions in the group 7A. Okay, some examples over here, guys. You will see in your book too. Naming cations and anions. Name the ion formed by each of the following element. Potassium. Over here you had to use, guys, in this A, B, and C, you had to use a periodic table. Okay, potassium. Okay, now we see the answer. Potassium is K. This is K positive. Write the symbol for element. Okay, this is positive over here. Sorry, this is one positive. Remember the letter B. This is 4 and positive. Over here you have to take a look the periodic table, the balance for each element. And the last part you have to name is a cation or anion. It depends the charge. You really know this. Is a positive, we talk about cation. Over here you have one positive charge, and the other element you have 4 positive charge. Both are cations because are positive charge. And so the other part, when you have negative charge, is an anion. You know that. Okay, so apply concept to the situation. Apply the appropriate rules for naming the ion. Use the Roman numeral if necessary. Okay, you have over here a potassium with positive charge. It's named potassium ion. Over here you have upper charge positive. In this case is 4. Named lead 4 because you have 4. The number of the balance of the symbol of the lead. Or you can write it down with another way. Remember, because it's an upper charge of the symbol, we're gonna talk about the suffix, or write it down with the suffix IC. Ion, the last part ion. And you have another example with sulfur. Sulfur, take a look in the periodic table. That's the sulfur have its word with a negative 2 charge is named with the suffix IDE, and the last part ion.